Hello my friends, I am back and today I want to talk to you about the 4 worst kinds of energy vampires to me. The first one is a negative Nelly. We all know someone who is a negative Nelly. That's a person who I would describe is always unhappy. Anything that happens, they always see the downside of it. Any suggestion that you have, they always shoot it down. Negative Nellies, I think, are not bad people. Not typically, not usually. It can be a person that you love, someone that you're related to, somebody that you're in relationship with, or someone who you really admire and respect in many ways, but they just always tend to see the downside of every situation. They tend to see the worst side. They drain us, they constantly talk about the things that they are unhappy with, and they take that energy and they share it out with the world, and in turn they suck the energy away from just about everybody who they come into contact with. Negative Nelly is energy vampire number 1. The second kind of energy vampire that I'd like to caution you against is the situation where it's too much, too fast, too soon, all at once, what I would call the pile-ups. Too much, too fast, too soon, pile-ups. Those are situations where you've got multiple things going on, you're multitasking, everybody needs a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You've got all these balls that are coming at you and you can only catch but so many of them, and at some point you just feel snowed over. If that happens, and it happens too frequently, and it's a part of your daily routine, whether it's personal or professional, that can be really draining, and it can be something that can really kind of suck the life out of you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of those. So the too much, too fast, too soon, none of the individual tasks that you might be asked to complete are a big deal in and of themselves, but when you get all of them piled up on you all at once, then it just makes for a really draining situation. It makes it impossible to keep up. It makes you feel like you can't really ever finish anything, or you're racing to accomplish things, and when you are successful at accomplishing them, you accomplish them at the risk of maybe your health. And I want to caution you against that. Be on the lookout. Be careful when you find yourself in that situation. Know the warning signs, listen to your body, see if there is a way to prioritize tasks so that you can at least have some organization to your chaos. So self-awareness is important, and once you're aware of a situation, then you can start coming up with strategies to offset what the effects are. So that's energy vampire number 2. Now we are ready for the third energy vampire, the toxic collective. So that's actually a group of people, so that's got to be 3 or more people. When they come together as a group, their dynamic is really difficult to manage. An example might be a board of directors, it could be an office, it could be a community circle, so it could be a big group, it could be a small group of people who constantly pick at each other. They rub each other the wrong way, and it's often predictable, and usually the same people over and over again, but for some reason they just can't quite get on the same page and can't quite be okay with the fact they can't agree to disagree, and the energy becomes really sour really quickly, and people who are in the room with the group dynamic start to feel tense, a sense of exhaustion, a wave of exhaustion come over them. There are days when I just feel completely exhausted from being a part of a group dynamic that is like that. Now, The fourth worst energy vampire for me is the antagonistic person. They are always angry at something. They're easily offended. What did you mean by that? Or they're the ones who say, I didn't like that. There's nothing wrong with having a different opinion. That's okay, I respect that. But they're the people who come at you with hostility. They're just ready. And they oftentimes will bait you with questions so they can go, aha! See, I knew that you were whatever, you can fill in the blank. They're toxic to be around. When you're around them and you listen to them, especially if you can get two or more of them around each other, you just feel like you want to eat a cake. That's how I feel. I feel like I want to eat cake. It's not subtle at all. It's in your face, and it is meant to be in your face. And it makes for an absolutely draining experience. That's the worst of the four that I have. That's probably the one that just drives me the absolute craziest. So if you know people like that, they're easy to recognize. They just have this way of being adversarial for no apparent reason at all, other than they're just hardwired that way. God bless them. But they just suck the living life out of you. The hardest for me to be around, the hardest for a lot of people who are like me to be around. Yeah, you got to really do what you can to protect yourself from the antagonist. Those are people who thrive off of discord. They thrive off of creating conflict. They love conflict. They feast on it. They don't know how to be without it, and so they create conflict where there is no conflict. They manufacture drama. They are, as Kevin Hart would say, they are something else. So anyway, be careful out there, my friends. A lot of vampires, human beings, or situations that include groups of human beings. Most often than not, they're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to kill you, but it could certainly send you to an early grave if you're not aware of it and you don't take steps to protect yourself. So that's my thought. Be safe out there, and I'll see you next time.